Yeah, one time for the city. Yeah, same aura as before. The smoke got blowing orange laws,
right.
meaning you pursue at your own cause. Last ever
Right.
to do it how we was taught.
Here's going.
Gods in the rafters covering you and yours. Gather round.
We got the
world's
music
most
running.
famous battlegrounds.
Let's get into this, man.
Infamous
Let's get
enough
into this.
for
You already know what it is, people.
crowds.
Welcome back to another
Cut from it,
Game
get
of the
hard,
Week
in the
preview.
concrete jungle with the
All right, we got the
gods
Sky
and
Zoo
yeah.
music going on, man. The orange and blue skies rocking. Okay. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button for your boys. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. The New York Knicks are facing off against the Cleveland Cavaliers on Christmas Day. Okay. Starting off the Christmas Day slate, going against the team that we're competing with in the Eastern Conference. You know, supposed to be an Eastern Conference Finals matchup. We already took game one, so now we got game two. We got to show Cleveland that we're back at it. We're still on track to be running through. We're the team to be running through the East. And with me tonight to cover the game, man, the preview this matchup is another my guy Evan Damro. He covers the Cavaliers for Right Down Euclid, so make sure to give him a follow. Make sure there's a thumbs up button. Once again, for your boys, subscribe to the channel if you've already done so. Okay, make sure to support our sponsors tonight, man. All right, DraftKings and SeatGeek. We'll get to that later. We'll get to that later. Evan, how you doing, man? How you feeling?
Good, man. How are you? It's fun to have the Cavs back on Christmas, and I think facing the Knicks makes it even more fun. But how are you?
I'm good, man. You know, it's always nice to compete. You know, on Christmas Day. I mean, the Knicks missed a few Christmas days back to back. They used to be slotted in there. Then we were just god awful to watch, but now we're good again. So we're back on Christmas Day. It's always fun, man, to have Christmas celebrated in the Mecca around basketball. But it should be a good matchup, man. We face each other to start off the season. Get a nice little rematch for game two. Battling for season series. You know, both teams are looking to go off to the NBA Finals, right? Get to the Eastern Conference Finals. Knicks return. Cleveland hopefully to make it with this roster that they got right here. But we'll see what happens tomorrow, man. We'll see what happens tomorrow. But Evan, before we just hop into the Cavs, I got to get your thoughts and opinions, man. Since it's been so long since these two teams matched up, what are your thoughts about the New York Knicks so far this season?
To be frank, they're not the same team. I mean, compared to last year, largely the same roster, but Mike Brown really has been a difference maker for this Knicks team. Like, really strength in numbers, really like ball movement heavy, but like there's a lot of defensive accountability, better transition discipline, and there's like a lot of wasted possession basketball and heavier emphasis on ball movement. Like, yeah, sure, they still lean on Jalen Brunson, but that's what you do when you got a superstar on your team. But they are just a team that is multifaceted. They're like really talented. I know they are dealing with some issues and injuries right now, but this for a marquee early day Christmas Day matchup between the Cavs and the Knicks, like this could be a team that does take Cleveland by surprise, especially because the Cavs are dealing with a lot of their own, internal issues or just, their own unsteadiness right now.
Yeah, and look, this is, as you said, essentially the same roster outside of a few additions for the Knicks, right? Clarkson and Yabusele being the two main focal points of the offseason signings. But for the most part, all in all, this is the same roster. But as you noted, Mike Brown has these guys running differently, more efficient with the offense. I mean, you can just look at Jalen Brunson alone, you know, averaging more touches, less, but, it's a drop to second by how long he's holding the basketball. Not the same as it was under Tom Thibodeau. And he's been just as efficient, if not even more efficient, in how Mike Brown wants to, have an up tempo offense and keep these guys moving and keep the defense on their heels. So it's refreshing to see, and it's nice to see that this team is starting to gel and really buy into those principles. Um, do you expect the Knicks to be? Do you look at the Knicks as a championship contender for this season?
I, I mean, they're the regular season championship contenders, so that's a step in the right direction. You know what I'm saying? But I mean,
Shots fired, man.
no shots fired. The NBA Cup, like I know what the NBA is trying to build with this. It is it's a fine line because folks are still trying to get their heads around it a little bit. I think several years in, it's a little bit different now, but They are they I guess if you want to say it, like they are the team with the target on their back. They're playing one extra game compared to the 82 everyone else has to play. I mean, San Antonio as well, if you want to get technical with it. But I mean, it's a proving match for Cleveland, and I think the fact that like the Eastern Conference maybe isn't as wide of a gap, if you want to say like it's like the Knicks and then the Cavs, if you want to juggle those two between each other, then the rest of the field, it's not really emerging into that. But like you said, it's or just in general, like the context going into this game, it's Christmas Day. It's at the Mecca of basketball. It's a homecoming game for Donovan Mitchell, more or less, and it's a statement matchup for Cleveland just because of how up and down they've been for this season. And when you really look at it, like the Cavs are a little bit topsy turvy right now. Like I know there's a lot of rumors in the ether when it comes to like Kenny Atkinson's job security or just like what the Cavs are doing in general, but if you want to build a statement win in terms of just what this season has or hasn't done for the Cavs or just the Knicks in general, like this is a marquee matchup. Like you want to show out and you want to show like, yeah, we are still like a legitimate contender just because the Knicks do serve as a tent pole or a bit of like a litmus test for this Cleveland team. And you kind of have to figure out like what does, what doesn't work. I think that's just kind of the machinations of how regular season goes for teams that are looking for, like an actual like championship to hang up or a banner to hang up, like, come end of a postseason run. And if you look at the Knicks, like, yeah, they're the best of the East, like they're the best of the NBA in terms of just like the in-season tournament or the NBA Cup. And if you're able to rattle them a little bit or, steal their thunder on like a marquee game like this. It's unfortunate, no Christmas jerseys, but it's my biggest gripe with Nike. Just gotta put it out there. But just it's gonna be fun basketball either way. But it will be an interesting matchup no matter what. Just because like this Cavs team is still trying to find itself a little bit as weird as it's gonna say compared to how they were last year. And I think the Knicks will serve as a litmus test no matter what.
Okay, there you go, and there you have it. And look, totally get that. I feel like, but even with if you're at the top of the conference, you're always going to be considered the litmus test and see where you stand, no matter who it is, amongst the rest in the East or any conference for that matter. But hey, we'll see what happens tomorrow, man. We'll see what happens with these two teams and see if who's got it in the tank for tomorrow. So it's the Knicks Nation. Thank you all for tuning for another Game of the Week preview. With me on the other side is my guy, Evan Damrow. He covers the Cavaliers for Right Down Euclid. Make sure to go subscribe to that newsletter. Go check out his work. Hit that thumbs up button for your boy. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. Okay? And hey, make sure to support one of our sponsors. And one of our sponsors tonight, man, none other than DraftKings, okay? Holiday basketball has arrived, and when stars like Jalen Brunson, Karl Anthony Towns, OG Anunoby, Mikal Bridges take over, DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA, is where you want to be. Don't forget, DraftKings has your back with early exit. If your player goes down in the first half, you still get paid in cash. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use that promo code KFTV. That's promo code KFTV. New customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-77777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, pass-through of per wager tax may apply in Illinois. 21 plus, age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Restrictions apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets which expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. It's a limited time offer. Remember, make sure to use that promo code KFTV when you download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets if your bet wins. The crown is yours, people. The crown is yours. So to all the franchise channel members in here, appreciate all of you for coming through yet again for another Game of the Week preview. Let's go. Let's keep it going. All right, Evan. So, talk about the Knicks. let's get to the Cavs now because the Cavs, prior to the season starting, it was always Knicks, Cavs, Knicks, Cavs, Knicks, Cavs. Those are the two
Oh yeah.
teams that we have to expect to go compete in the Eastern Conference Finals, and then one of them would go to the NBA Finals. Of course, things have not necessarily gone that way for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Detroit has taken a step up in that direction. They're currently number one in the East. And Cleveland has been dealing with their own issues, as you mentioned. So, what's going on with Cleveland right now, man? Like, should Cavs fans be worried, or is Cleveland just going through their own journey right now, and will they correct the ship?
I think going through their own journey is a good way to put it. I think every team is dealing with injuries, but you got Max Strus who hasn't played this season, and I know he's a role player for the Cavs, but like he's a high end guy that really like connects the pieces for them or connects the dots. But you have that, or Evan Mobley's dealing with calf issues, or Jared Allen is playing through like a broken finger, or you have Darius Garland who's still dealing with toe issues from last year's postseason run. Like the Cavs were not fully healthy coming into this season, and they're still trying to play their way back to maybe the team they were, but the variance is there. It is tough just because they are one of the teams that takes the most three pointers in the NBA, but they're like bottom, below average. I'll be generous to them at this point in terms of just, completing those three pointers. And they made some internal swaps, like they let Ty Jerome walk in free agency. They let Lonzo Ball come in for Isaac Okoro to kind of be like a merge of what Okoro maybe gives you and what Jerome could give you, and that just hasn't worked out quite as well as Cleveland wanted it to. And they're still trying to, figure out like what does and doesn't work. And I think Kenny Atkinson is a coach that is willing to make these experiments, maybe take these risks that could possibly result in a loss come during the regular season, just because those are the balancing acts you want to figure out, because it could be a wrinkle that for you that does or doesn't work for you come playoff time. And they are a little bit finding themselves, but I think health is just the biggest thing for them, and they just didn't come into the season healthy. And the fact that like Strus is a guy that really is pretty consistent in terms of just defense, rebounding, 3-point shooting, especially. And you just don't have that X factor. And I think maybe like DeAndre Hunter not being the plus you want to get in terms of starting small forward as well just isn't opportunity for the Cavs, but it's a little bit of finding themselves and going through this journey. And I try to tell people it's an 82 game season. You don't really want to like, make or break the season based on like a win or a loss just on a game to game basis, but it's tricky because like this team on paper, between the Cavs and the Knicks, like they are the arguably the two best teams in the Eastern Conference. You had shouted Detroit that they're playing excellent basketball this season, and it's just tough because the Cavs really aren't giving you what they expected. And yeah, it's fair to be disappointed in them, but I think you have to take with like a heavy asterisk next to it, just because you're not getting the complete picture because injuries are playing a part in it.
Injuries are playing a big part, as you mentioned, for the Cavs. They've still got to get through it, as you mentioned. And currently, if the season were to end today, they're on the outside looking in terms of like playoff standings. They would be in the play-in tournament. They're seventh right now, so they would get home court advantage, and obviously a win, they would be in. But they do have a winning record right now. They're 17 and 14. Like, where do you expect?
Hmm.
What do you need from this team to really change it around and get into the top six and solidify a playoff spot? What needs to happen outside of just everyone getting back from injury?
I mean, other than getting back from injury, I think refinding what worked best for them. Is it your defensive identity, which is, the core tenet of what they had in our JB Bickerstaff, and Kenny Atkinson not reinventing the wheel there. Like with you have Allen, you have Mobley, you have guys that are willing to be active hustlers in terms of just rebounding or, playing for those plus possessions as well. And yeah, does play a part in that. Like, do you want to lead on that, or do you want to be the team that blitz teams in terms of just like 3-point shooting or just scoring at a hyper efficient rate? And I think yeah, it's understandable to not really look at it and be like, this isn't a realistic thing that like, carries from year to year. But the biggest X factor for this Cavs team, whether it's heading into this matchup against the Knicks or just in this season in general, is just is Darius Garland able to turn the corner and be that guy who can give you 20, 25 points and flirting at least with double digit assists, and can kind of like push the tempo for them offensively, because right now this team is the Donovan Mitchell show. Like, it's, hey, we are able to kind of give ourselves a puncher's chance when it comes to like whatever matchup we're playing with, whether it's the Knicks or the Hornets or the Wizards, or any spectrum of whoever is or isn't good in the NBA. But like, this team is not built to have the squad go to Donovan Mitchell and say like, hey, we need you to just pull off some theatric heroics for us in this matchup just so we can get another win in the regular season column. But it's just kind of finding that healthy stability and balance, just so you're not just turning to one guy and saying like, we need to put the team on our back and just carry us across the finish line so we can get a win, whether it's regular season or postseason.
So I know that you're saying it's the Donovan Mitchell show right now. And you're asking them to find their identity, and that was kind of the thing with the Knicks last season, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we knew that they had a good offense. It slowed down once it turned to the new calendar year, starting January 1st of 2025. But they didn't really have an identity. And even though they made it to the Eastern Conference Finals, you want to have an identity so that way as a unit, as a team, what to fall back on, what your laurels are. And I feel like for this season, we know what they are. Mentally, they're a tough team, and they know that they're an offensively gifted team, and that's what they're really hanging their hats on. Opportunistic
Yeah.
defense adds to that as well. They're not going to be some shut down defensive unit team, but that's who they are this season. I feel like if you're looking for the Cavs to make a bounce back, as you mentioned, it is just find that identity, and that could take the entire season, man. And for you,
Yeah.
you guys hope that you find that sooner rather than later, because look, even though it's possible we saw the Knicks do it without a true identity, get to the Eastern Conference Finals, each game was a struggle for them to get to that point. And it was close games. Obviously, postseason, no game is going to be a blowout as like you would expect, like Knicks or Cavs to be playing the Wizards, right? Or even like the
Yeah.
Hornets. But still, like you want to see that there's like some like fluidity
An
to like
edge.
how they're performing. Exactly. Exactly. So we'll see what happens with the Cavs, but like to that point, like how much of it right now is it like Eastern Conference or bust for this team right now? Because they've gone all in. They got the four players, right? You got Garland, Mobley, Allen, Donovan Mitchell. You guys essentially said, I mean, you even got DeAndre Hunter to add because you needed another wing. And so like
Yep.
you've added so much to this roster. How much is it like, look, I know it's year two for Kenny Atkinson, but like, is there pressure right now for this team to really go further because they've been a second round bounce for the past couple of years outside of the Knicks, taking them out in round one not too long ago.
um That's a great question, because if you were to like ask, and there's truth serum injected in everybody in the front office, I think you would say, yeah, it's Eastern Conference Finals, NBA Finals, or bust. Or else this season is a disappointment, just because like last season, injuries hit at the most inopportune time for Cleveland, and you really thought like heading to that Pacers matchup, like it's gonna be tough. It's not gonna be easy. They're not gonna sweep this Pacers team, but if they're able to stay healthy, they're able to hit the shots they make and are able to, you know, deal with the physicality, which is, the biggest bugaboo when it comes to this Cavs team, is just like, can they handle the physicality of a team that is able to rebound and really like, set the tone with their defense and just control the flow of an opposing team's offense like that? Like, are they able to dissect that and kind of, figure what does and doesn't work in terms of opposing matchup? But it's I would say yeah. I think this season, like early in the season, it's really hard to say like, oh, this is a team that is definitely going to make the Eastern Conference Finals, or God willing, the NBA Finals. But if you're the Cavs, like, you have to be disappointed or frustrated if you don't get to that point, just because like Donovan Mitchell's made it clear. Like, I think the Cavs, if you talk to anyone in that locker room's made it clear, like, we're frustrated, like being a first or second round exit every single season. Like, there has to be a point where you break through to make it to the other side. And I know folks heading into the season said the Eastern Conference was wide open between the Cavs and the Knicks in terms of like who's going to win it, but you gotta find that breaking point, whether it's like, the cards are in your favor or not. And this team is the most expensive team in basketball, and you have to really like figure out like, is what we're paying working, or is it a coaching thing? Is it a roster thing? But like, it's a bit of that finding yourself still, but more than anything, like you really like this season is like, I don't want to say make or break, but maybe if they don't make the conference finals, maybe they don't make the NBA finals, maybe you finally see some dramatic change coming out of Cleveland, what that means, like a Garland trade or an Allen trade, or I mean, if Donovan Mitchell's just fed up, like you trade him as well, but you really have to like weigh all your options, put all the cards on the table, because like this team on paper has the personnel, has the skill set, has the players to like really make a run for a title, but for whatever reason, they just haven't been able to break through that other side.
Yeah, they haven't yet to break through to the other side, and it seems like as you're talking about, it's make or break for them, man. Otherwise, it seems like big changes are going to be coming through. Once again, salute to Knicks Nation. Salute to Cavs Nation. I know some Cavs fans are in here, man. They always coming through, especially when Evans coming through as well to break things down. So make sure that thumbs up button for your boys. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. Okay. Salute to all of our franchise channel members in here. Appreciate all of you for coming through as always. Who do we got here? We got Danica Baca. Shout out to you, man, for being a franchise channel member. Shout out to my guy, John Talento. You always coming through. We got Hard Jeezy in here. Appreciate you. We got Janelle Torre. Appreciate you for being in here as well. My guy, Abdul from San Diego. Appreciate you, my brother. Thank you for coming through. Who else we got in here, man? We got, is this Iris Miller? Shout out to Iris Miller. Shout out to Iris Miller. Appreciate you for coming through as well. Who else? We got Eric Horn. Appreciate you, Eric Horn. And we got CP in the chat as always, just hanging with people. Shout out to our guy Eric L. Beats as well, and Wise Guy. Appreciate you all for being here, tapping in for another game of the week preview. And people, remember, this show is also brought to you by SeatGeek. Look, tomorrow, ticket prices. You're trying to go to MSG, man? The the bar to entry is $400. If you're not willing to spend $400, then I got a solution for you. Go to SeatGeek.com, man. Download the app or go to SeatGeek.com, and this helps you find tickets, affordable tickets for you to attend any live event, concerts, sporting events, whatever it may be. Make sure to download or use the SeatGeek app or go to the website and go look for your cheaper tickets there, okay? And when you go to SeatGeek, it will show you the options of green for good, red for bad. So if you see green, think about a traffic light. Just go purchase those tickets, man. It means based on their market research, that is the most affordable ticket for you. If it's red, that means it's not. But hey, if you're that desperate to get in there, don't let that be the deterrent of you. But make sure to go look for the green ones, man. The green ones means go. So make sure to go use SeatGeek. Go to SeatGeek.com or download the SeatGeek app and use that promo code KFTV10. Use that promo code KFTV10 for 10% off your tickets, okay? Make sure you use that promo code KFTV10 for 10% off your tickets. Look, we all know you want to go to the game tomorrow. Make sure you use that app so that way you don't got to spend $400, okay? Salute to Knicks Nation once again. Appreciate you as always. Let's get back into this, though. All right, Evan, we got through the storylines, man. Let's talk about
Yes,
this
sir.
game in general, okay? Because, look, both teams were going to make their mark. Knicks are not trying to take anyone lightly, but as you mentioned, the Cavs are looking to make a statement or just measure where they are in the league, and what better way than competing where you got the brightest lights on you, not just because you're in Madison Square Garden, but you're on prime time, man. You're on prime time for tomorrow. So why not show up and see where you stand in the league going against New York, even if you are missing some people? New York is missing some guys as well. And I'm very curious to see how these teams are just going to match up. What do you think from the Cavs perspective they're going to look to do tomorrow to really, like expose the Knicks?
I think a big aspect of it is rebounding, free throws, and then just 3-point volume. Like rebounding, unfortunately, ever since that first faded Cavs Knicks series, which we haven't quite yet had the rematch for it, whether you're a Cleveland fan who's looking to, see the Cavs actually compete against the Knicks, or, if you're a Knicks fan, you want to see another, throwback to maybe some really great basketball being played come postseason wise. But like, sure, the regular season doesn't provide you like a full preview of what you're gonna get, but like, it can give you a taste for it. But you look at it like the Cavs. Mobley is questionable heading into this matchup. Like if he plays, it's going to make a huge difference. At Jared Allen as well, infamous quote like the lights were brighter than we expected, but like the lights in MSG, are you able to respond to that? Just like deal with the pace, deal with the flow, whether it's Cat, it's I mean Josh Hart as well, it's Brunson. I mean it's a collective effort with the Knicks. Like you have to deal with the rebounding no matter what, and then like the 3-point shooting. The Cavs are not shy when it comes to shooting from the perimeter. Or the Knicks willing to kind of stymie that a little bit, or maybe encourage them as well, just because sure they take a ton of 3-pointers, but they are not making them at a reliable clip either. So can you dictate the flow if you're New York in that aspect, or if you're Cleveland, can you get hot right away, or maybe within the flow of the game, whether you're Garland or Mitchell or somebody else, whether it's Hunter or Wade or Ball or somebody else, just gets going from the perimeter just to give you the that 3/2 advantage in terms of just point differential and just really make an impact there. Like what are you looking for though in terms of just what could be, some of the like statistical battles between these two teams.
I think the big one you mentioned is the 3-point shooting because, as you mentioned, the Cavs are number one when it comes to attempts. Now, they might not be knocking them down at a high rate, but hey, if you want that cured, come look at the New York Knicks, man. We'll allow you guys to look like, the primetime Golden State Warriors, although they have gotten better at defending the three on the season. I know opponents, the quality of opponents has kind of like you know, help them in that regards. But the Knicks, who
Yeah.
were once in the basement, being like 27, 28 to start the season when, according to Queen of the Glass, the accuracy of allowing opponents to knock down threes. They've improved. They're now 19th, but teams are still shooting 37% from downtown when playing New York. They're not the worst, which would be the Lakers, who are allowing 39%. But, it doesn't mean you still can't get hot if you're a good 3-point shooting team. And when you have somebody like Donovan Mitchell, when you have Garland, when you have all those guys out there, um, there's capability. And so for New York, they're really going to have to look at the perimeter just because I know defensively for their principles, it hasn't changed going from Tom Thibodeau to Mike Brown where they're looking to protect the paint. So these guys got to make sure that they're willing to commit to closing out on active shooters. And this is the thing though, if they allow Cleveland to get hot from downtown and then now they're starting to charge out trying to prevent them, guys like Garland and Donovan Mitchell are more than well equipped to just get right past somebody and attack the rim and then either get a layup, do a floater, or kick it out to the perimeter again and get even a better shot. So for New York, I think the biggest thing for them tomorrow is just even though the Cavs are not a great 3-point shooting team, and on the season they are currently ranked. Let me just pull it up for you for percentage wise. They are 21st, so then they're damn near in the basement when it comes to how efficiently they're shooting the three. But hey, anyone can get hot from
Hmm.
any given night. This is the NBA, so New York's just got to be on top of that one when it comes to stopping the Cavs. That's like the biggest thing because I feel like for the rim attempts, like Cleveland's about average for what I was looking at for cleaning the glass. They're not necessarily
Yeah.
a team that's gonna, bully you in the paint, but they're right there where if you sleep, they can certainly score at a high rate. And if you're on your A game, then they can't do much against you. Right now, they're currently 15th. They average about 67% finishing around the rim, which is, it's good. The average is right now 67.7. So they are currently just a shy below league average. Best team right now is the Lakers, who are finishing a superb high of 73% around the rim. So, look, Cleveland's no slouch in with any regard, but that's I think that could go either way. But New York is pretty good when it comes to just protecting the paint for the most part.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. Like, and I think like again, that's gonna be part of the physicality challenge when it comes to like the Cavs versus the Knicks or the Cavs versus anybody. Like, New York is a good litmus test of like we are a non-conventional team. We as in the Cavs, so, like they use Mobley, they use Allen. Like those are two guys that could either be fours or fives, depending on how you throw them out there. But like, are you able to create that paint pressure to force New York to overcorrect or, just defend the paint a little bit more closely. And then hopefully, like, the Cavs can lean on their personnel a little bit as well, just to, like, take and make those 3 pointers as well, just to create that offensive balance. And that's really the core issue of like Cleveland's offensive woes this season is they are not able to create that balance where they create consistent rim pressure and are able to just put pressure at the rim so they make defenses, overcorrect a little bit and they get those more wide open looks on the perimeter and they can kind of burn opposing defenses for that to keep them scrambling the entire game. And yeah, I mean, the Knicks have bounced back certainly in terms of 3 point defense, so that makes it a little bit harder. But I think that that rim defense in general, like that is going to be a huge test for Cleveland, especially if they want to like dictate the flow on the road, on prime time, on Christmas Day. I think there's a lot of caveats that come to this game. And if you're the Cavs, if you want to like, ruin New York's fans' Christmas in terms of just kicking off the Christmas activities and everything else, like you gotta establish that flow a little bit offensively.
For sure. And I think another key area is, the fast break opportunities. So creating turnovers and then just getting out in transition right now. Looking here at NBA.com and just looking at some of the stats, Cleveland right now ranks 12th, averaging about, let's see here, averaging about 15 points per game, just slightly over 15 points per game when it comes to fast break scoring. New York is not too far. They're ranked 14th with 14.8. But, New York is not necessarily the most athletic, not the fastest team. They certainly can. They certainly have demonstrated that when they put their mind and like they focus in on attacking out in transition, they can certainly do that and they can make the game easier for themselves. Um, I think that's going to be another key area. Now, New York has improved. They're now in the top 10 when it comes to preventing opponents from scoring the fast break. They are 10 on the dot. They only allow 14.3 points per game when it comes to opponent scoring in fast in transition, I should say. So a point less than what the Cavs are averaging. But I think this could be the breaking point right there because the Cavs do
Yeah.
have a lot of speed. They do like to get out there. They do like to run and gun. It's, a lot of it is just predicated on Garland and Donovan if they're like really in that zone. But I feel like that's going to be
Yeah.
another like battleground area where that could make or break the game.
No, I absolutely agree. Like it's gonna be really tricky just because like the Knicks have the personnel, whether it's Bridges or Hart or, I mean, I'm sure like metrics will tell you like Jalen Brunson isn't like a super plus defender, but like he plays bigger for his size to begin with, so he can like really stymie things down a little bit. And then if the Knicks are able to force things down into a funnel, whether it's rim pressure or just really like muddying things up a bit for the Cavs, and that's where it really makes it tricky. So if you're looking at either of these teams, like if you're New York, you want to make sure Cleveland is uncomfortable on the perimeter again, like they have been throughout the season, or it could really burn them really quickly.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how that gets. We'll see how that all shakes out, man. It's fast break opportunities is always very interesting for the Knicks, in my opinion, just because there's some nights where you're like, oh, okay, there we go, we're doing it, and then other nights are like, all right, guys, are we? Did we forget how to run? Did we forget how to get out there and transition? Like Josh Hart's always willing to do that. Brunson could certainly do that, but it's like at times, there's the ill-advised pass. There's the missed opportunities, and that's where it's like you be scratching your head at times. But it is what it is, man. That's not really the biggest focal point of their game. So it's the Knicks Nation. Thank you all for tuning for another game of the week preview with me. On the other side is my guy Evan Damero. He covers the Cavaliers for Right Down Euclid. Make sure to go check out that newsletter, man. Just a phenomenal job covering the Cavs. All right, let's get into the key matchup, man. Well, first and foremost, actually, before I do that, shout out to Tristan. Appreciate the super chat, man. He says, "Merry Xmas, Alex. Thank you for you and Evan, man. That's what we do, man. We're here for the people. We're here breaking it down, man, on Christmas Eve. That's what we do. Appreciate you and appreciate your support. So now let's get into the key matchup. And looking at this, when we talk about key matchups, it should be no surprises who the matchup is. It's Jalen Brunson versus Donovan Mitchell. You know, it just sticks out like a sore thumb. Look, we know how
Oh yeah.
we know this battle goes back to the Western Conference when Donovan was a Jazz, Brunson was a Mav. Brunson took him down in the first round. We know what happened. when they both went to the Eastern Conference. And we all know that when these two guys compete, it's always a show, man. These guys love to put up points. And that's what I'm expecting tomorrow. I'm expecting points for tomorrow. I'm expecting 30 plus for both of these guys just because they're both crafty in their own right. Brunson uses his physicality and his footwork to get down into the middle, get the floater off, turnaround jumper. He's certainly been better working off ball too because Mike Brown likes to have a lot of these guys initiate the offense. So he's working off screens and knocking down open threes, catch and shoot style. So Brunson's ready to go. I'm not expecting anything less from him. He did have that night off recently against the Timberwolves, so he should be fresh and ready to play against Donovan Mitchell in the Cavs. And we know what Donovan Mitchell likes to do, man. We know he likes to use his strength, but he has a lot of speed. That man can go from 0 to 60 in like 2 seconds, and he can certainly get to the rim. He's explosive. He's a great shooter. Both these guys are looking to, put up points on Christmas Day. It should be a good matchup, man. What do you think about this matchup?
I mean, it's what you're signing up for if you're tuning into the NBA on Christmas Day. Like, great job on the NBA for scheduling this matchup just because it'll be fun. Just from the Mitchell versus Brunson aspect, like you said, there's history behind it, but also like I think the who dictates the pace is going to really decide it. Like, do the Knicks, whether it's Brunson v. Mitchell is that one-on-one matchup, like who sets the tone for them off for their respective team offensively, and really like sets the flow for one another in that aspect too. Just because it has been the Donovan Mitchell show for the Cavs, and I know like the Knicks are not trying to be just Jalen Brunson and a bunch of guys around him, especially under Mike Brown this season. And I think it's really worked out for success for them at this point too, just because like you'd said, like they have Brunson playing a lot of off ball at this point, just to kind of get those clean, easy shots for him. And I'm just really curious, like who is going to be the guy that dictates the pace, especially like late in the game. Like if it's like a one or two possession type of matchup, like whether it's in the favor of the Cavs or the Knicks, and who is going to be the guy that steps up. And I think that's what makes it fun. And I think both of these guys fully understand, like yeah, there's history between the two of us, but like they also understand like this is a big game, this is a big matchup for either squad, and who's going to be the guy that really like steps up for them and just makes the difference for them, their
Absolutely.
respective team.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's going to be a fun one, man. It's going to be a fun one. Who are your other matchups that you're looking out for tomorrow? Because, there's a lot of, both guys got a lot of key guys. I know Mobley is, TBD,
Yeah.
but if there is another matchup that you're looking for outside of Mobley, who is it? Is it the Cat and Jared Allen, Cat and
I
Mitch?
think it's
Is it,
that.
you think
I
it's
think
that
it's
one?
Cat and Jerry Allen, or Jerry Allen and Mitch. Like the physicality aspect could be a big part of it, but also like Cat's a different big. Like he can stretch the floor. He can be that guy that really disrupts Cleveland's defensive flow a little bit. Like, can he drag Jerry Allen out of the paint more often than not, and negates that like rim protection aspect the Cavs have, and allows the Knicks to kind of create more consistent rim pressure. Just that inside outside offense that the NBA really predicates itself off of, and or is if Mobley is 100% or is he's playing through a calf injury, they're trying to be cognizant of that, and not let it accelerate or become a worse situation. But like Cat, I think is going to be like one of those secret X factors for the Knicks, and how the Cavs defender, whether it's Mobley or it's Allen or shoot, like I think Kenny Atkinson's gonna throw every dart at the board and hope something sticks. It could be like Thomas Bryant or somebody else too. That just like, becomes a bit of that disruptor. And then like you look at the Mitch versus like Allen notion too. Like I think that's always gonna be a thing, especially after I know that playoff matchup between the Cavs and the Knicks is definitely in the rearview mirror at this point, but like is there a rebounding edge for like New York, or are the Cavs able to like take care of business and just handle the the battle on the boards, and just if Allen's gonna be the biggest spearhead of that, but like is it gonna be a collective effort, or is it gonna be like a big versus Mitch and everything the Knicks can throw at Allen as well, just to make sure like these become a bit of a grimier matchup, like this becomes more of a matchup where it is possession by possession, and if you have a big man that's willing to step up and play through the physical injury of like a fractured finger like Allen is and just dictate that flow, or is Cat gonna like pick him apart because he is a stretchier big man that can really just dictate the flow of what the Knicks are doing, and also, the extra oomph of what Mitch can give you in terms of just that rebounding edge, or just the defensive edge in general.
Yeah, I think the Mitch and Allen matchup is a good one. Same thing with Cat and Allen. That's a really good. The centers are going to be playing a big part of this as well. Both teams, if Mobley does play, they both can go with the double big lineups and make it interesting. I think the other one for me is definitely going to be the Bridges versus Garland one because I know he's going to get the perimeter assignment. Um,
Oh yeah.
Garland's got a lot of speed, and I'm looking at McCall seeing how he works that matchup tomorrow. Just because, look, he has been playing very efficiently this season. Once again, I've been saying, like, once again for me saying, like, this guy is like on the precipice of doing a 50, 40, 90 type season. He just needs to get to the free throw line a lot more, and then he can certainly get to the 90 percentage free throws and have that type of season. And to do that
Hmm.
while being a defender is just very impressive. So just looking to see if he like what type of offensive performance he's going to have because guarding Garland is no small task, and you have to be on your P's and Q's with that one just because of his top end speed. So I'm looking at that McCall Bridges Garland matchup just because look, if Garland starts to get downhill and causes any frustration for Bridges, then you just got to think about all right, how do we switch this up? Does the mentality then switch for Bridges to become more offensive driven and not defensive driven? And so there's a lot of there's a little bit of like a mental chess match there between the head coach, both head coaches, I should say, and the players themselves. So that's the other matchup that I'm looking at too.
I mean, in of itself too, like the matchup between Atkinson and Brown as well. Like we had talked about this at the top of this. Like this is kind of a similar Knicks team. Yeah, you add in Clarkson. I know like Tyler Kolek is getting a lot more minutes under Mike Brown. At least in the last matchup, he's getting minutes under Mike Brown too. But like Mike Brown and Kenny Atkinson have coached together. Like they have experience working with each other. How are they going to work out like against one another too? Like, do they know maybe? Does this coach have a bit of a blind side that we can maybe exploit or mismatch as well, and just provide that X factor, that edge in this game too? And I think it really is going to be a bit of a chess matchup or chess match, excuse me, in terms of this game, just because like you want to see like how can we make the X's and O's work to present like a Y or Z option for this offense as well too. And then the counterpoint is how do we defend A, B, and C if you're the Knicks or the Cavs? And just it's gonna be a fun matchup. Like I know it's probably a little dramatic to say like at Christmas time this is a playoff matchup, but if this ends up being like a playoff preview, like it's gonna be some fun like coaching on that side of things too. Just like how are we gonna maybe find a wrinkle or an exploit or a mismatch that like provides us the edge, whether you're the Cavs or the Knicks, that just really like provides you like that X factor or difference, just especially down the line too.
Absolutely. Look, if the game definitely goes that way, I would expect both coaches to say, "Hey, let's try this out," and just
Yeah.
experiment what we can use in the postseason that we haven't really done a lot during the regular season. So it could certainly go that way. All depends on how close this game is and the energy that is brought out from the players and the coaches as well. So this is why this matchup is going to be a lot of fun, Evan. This is why this match is going to be a lot of fun. And speaking of X Factor, and I know you've been on the show and we've done this quite a few times. Great way to segue to the next topic. X Factors themselves. So, who is your X Factor for the Cleveland Cavaliers?
I think we know it's going to be the Donovan Mitchell versus Jalen Brunson show, but for the Cavs, it has to be Darius Garland. Like, yeah, Evan Mobley is a game time decision. You would hope he plays. I think Jerry Allen is going to have a full assignment just in terms of the rebounding and the defensive rim pressure. But like for Garland, he is the guy that like provides you that engine, that motor, just really gives you a lot of what you're hoping for in terms of just like providing that offensive flow and also just being like I don't want to say the safety blanket, but the guy that can provide the secondary offensive pressure on the Knicks to readjust their defense to make life easier for Donovan Mitchell. And on top of that, it's just probably like the secondary shooting and decision making. Like the Cavs, can they be careful with the basketball? Like you're gonna have Bridges on Garland throughout the matchup, like and throughout this game. that is going to like create a lot of pressure on him. Like, is Garland able to not be careless with the basketball, or if like it's Mitchell with the ball in his hands, is he able to be careful with the basketball and like set up his teammates either for success or create a a clean offensive look for himself as well? Like it's gonna be a lot of like those X and O's and just like the really like minutia things here that really just factor things out. So it's a bit of a broad stroke on my part, but I think like Garland is gonna be like the tone setter for them. And then from there, can the Cavs just build on top of that and build that momentum in an unfriendly environment on prime time, on a marquee game for the NBA itself on Christmas Day that really allows you to find comfort when you're truly the most uncomfortable in terms of just like what you're doing and on Christmas Day here, and just hopefully ride out a way to find a win. What about you for the Knicks?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Tyler Kolek as my X factor for tomorrow's
Ooh,
game.
he's a dog, man. I love his game.
I liked him last season. I liked this selection of him. Was down on him during summer league because he didn't really show much. I was expecting a little bit more from a second year player during summer league, and didn't really know what to expect from him coming to the regular season. Mike Brown gave him a little bit of a shot to start off the season. He went 11 deep, cut back the rotation, really brought it down to like nine. And now he's got another chance due to a lot of the injuries. We lost Shamit, lost McBride. Guys have been in and out of the rotation, like managing injuries. And so, with the second chance opportunity that he's gotten this year, he's really flourished. And what I like is just his physicality, man. His physicality and his hustle right now. He's really showing that he understands that you don't really get a lot of opportunities in this league and you got to stay ready. And he's been staying ready. And what I really like is that he's been managing the flow of the offense, which is surely needed when Brunson takes, a seat and has to get some rest. So I'm looking at him to be, I'm looking at him as my X factor because look, when Brunson sits, you're going to need somebody to run this offense. They brought in Clarkson
Yep.
just because, the guy who can create for himself in isolation and just break down the defense, and he can certainly do that. He's been my X factor a couple of times. McBride's a good, combo guard, can quasi do that. I don't know if he's going to be playing tomorrow. I know he's supposed to be coming back soon. I'm not expecting him to play tomorrow, but based on all the play styles that you have, Kolek really fits the bill as a point guard that can continue the flow of the offense. And they certainly have left him out there with guys like Hart, Bridges, OG, Cat. And they've done some interesting lineups where they've had him and Brunson share the floor. That way, Brunson can work more off ball. And that way, you have another guy that can just manage the offense. So I'm looking at Kolek once again, just so he can manage the offense. And I like that aggression I saw from him against the Timberwolves, just using his body, being a little bit more physical, trying to get to the cup, make the defense collapse. I'm looking for him to build off of that going against Cleveland. So Kolek is my X factor for tomorrow's game. And with that, appreciate you for coming through, Evan. Appreciate you as always, my man.
Appreciate you.
Please let the listeners know where they can find you. If you got any work up and coming, we should be on the lookout for.
You can find me on X, formerly Twitter, on Am Not Evan. That's honestly my socials for everything. But like, yeah, as we had mentioned throughout the show, you can find my work at Raytown Euclid. We cover the Cavs, a lot of Northeastern Ohio collegiate sports, Browns, Guardians, whatever you want, and we try to provide it from like a little bit. There is that fan aspect of it, of course, but really try to figure out like what is it isn't working for this Cavs team, like looking for the Cavs angle, like is this good? Is this bad? Like, hey, it's something that worth keeping eyes on or keeping tabs on. Like, if it's like Tyler Kolek who's just able to exploit a matchup or, really point out the disparity in terms of like the Cavs bench scoring or anything like that. But it's it's a fun venture. And if you want to check me out, feel free to rock with me. But no, as always, I'm always available and always happy to talk about this what you hope is a budding rivalry, but just hasn't really built yet. But it's always there.
Yeah, man, it's always there, especially when you got Brunson and Mitchell, as the box office, marquee matchup. So, hey, we'll see what happens, man. Tomorrow is a step in that direction to see if they can create, a budding rivalry with that. Appreciate you as always, my guy. Appreciate you, Evan, for coming down and talking, previewing these games with me, my man. So make sure to give Evan a follow. He does a phenomenal job breaking down the Cavs, man. Make sure to go support him right through the newsletter, right down Euclid. He does a great job over there. And appreciate all of you franchise channel members and some Cav fans out there. I know some Cav fans are in here, man. We got some of you in the chat. I know some of you are here just watching, being quiet. I know you're already, if the Cavs win tomorrow, which I, not hoping for, not expecting. Obviously this is an eccentric show, so we all know what whoever's rooting for. We don't got to go through this whole rigmarole right here. But I know you all would be back if it was to go in that direction. But thank you for all for tapping in yet again anyways, all right? So make sure that thumbs up button for your boys. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. Shout out to all our franchise channel members in here, my man. We got, who else we got in here? I saw Abdul. So Abdul going to the game tomorrow. Abdul, have fun. Hopefully you got some great seats. Hopefully you use SeatGeek, man. Hopefully you use SeatGeek. Remember, support our sponsors. Make sure you use that promo code KFTV for DraftKings. Bet $5 win up to $200 in bonus bets if your bet wins. And make sure to support SeatGeek. If you want to get 10% off any ticket purchase, make sure you use that promo code KFTV10. Just download the SeatGeek app or go over to SeatGeek.com to go get your tickets, okay? On top of that, make sure to tune in tomorrow, okay? We already know. We got the post game always, man. All 82 will be there right afterwards, as always, breaking this stuff down. So make sure to catch post game afterwards after the Knicks play the Cavs. And once again, appreciate you all, Knicks Nation. Appreciate you all to all of our franchise channel members. And last thing I'll say is that, look, if you can't catch the show live, all right, you can always be part of the replay game, youtube.com/KnicksFanTV, or you can go to any audio listening platform, Apple, Spotify, and catch us there. And make sure to subscribe to the newsletter. And on that note, we out.